So John and I are at Shark Valley in the Everglades National Park, and we are getting ready to take our 2-hour tram tour.
To stay warm and wet during the dry winter, they dig waterholes all over the glades. These are weights he's attracting.
Species of wildlife: alligators, fish, turtles, snakes, frogs, snails, crayfish, invertebrates, freshwater shrimp, and many more. Now, the reason you see so much more grass and trees is the geology of this area. Sawgrass is growing where no other plant here can. And it's due to the soil and the geology. The soil here in Shark Valley averages about 3 inches deep. Think of that. About that much. 3 inches of soil cannot support the root system of a tree, but it's adequate for the roots of grasses. Also, that thin soil here is extremely low in nutritional value. It is not very fertile. Sawgrass is the only plant that's adapted itself to survival. Beneath the thin layer of soil is the limestone we talked about earlier. 10,000 feet of it. Beneath our feet is 3 inches of soil and 2 miles of solid limestone. And that is the entire makeup, geologically, of the area. So before we move on, I'm going to point out to your right the most common and numerous tree island in the Everglades, the Bayhead. You'll notice it's fairly equal as far as height is concerned. It's almost flat across the top, and the vegetation is very, very dense. Now, a bayhead will establish itself on a slight rise in the elevation of the limestone, literally no more than 12 inches. But that's enough extra soil for certain trees with very shallow root systems to germinate the seeds, sprout roots, which also grab a hold of the limestone to anchor itself and continue to grow. This is home to small animals, songbirds, snakes, bats, spiders, that use this dense vegetation to hide from larger, primarily airborne predators like hawks and herons. Look how dense it is. No predator can get in there. Now, the inhinga is a diving bird. It swims underwater, completely submerged, and spears fish with that sharp pointed beak. Now what it's doing, notice what it's doing. It has turned its back toward the sun and spread its wings, not to dry off so much as to warm up. In order to ward off hypothermia, this bird will do this several times throughout the course of daylight hours. It is also their breeding season, which began right around the end of November. And yesterday, see a couple courting over in the West Road? Yeah. Yesterday, and the day before, there was some early kind of, I wouldn't call it courtship behavior, but there was a male that was sort of introducing himself to a female. And yesterday they were very friendly with each other. And sometimes, when they finally scrape that fish off, they lose it. It falls back in the water. So they're not the mildest of birds. And he's trying to toss it. See him toss his head. He wants that fish to fly off the beak. He'll catch it head first and swallow it. Some of them are so good at tossing their head, they snap their neck, and the fish flies off They catch it in midair, head first, and swallow it. Back underwater to spare some more. The cormorant, with that slightly hooked beak, swims underwater and grabs fish with the hook. And hinga has a sharper, thinner, pointed beak, which it spears fish with. Okay, look at this here. Look at them all. And you notice they're in varying sizes. Look at some of the big ones and the little ones. Notice the big ones are a little bit segregated from the smaller ones. Formation of the lower teeth.